Ghana's opposition leader opened to talks with the president on the way forward following a CCJ ruling that has triggered the need for fresh elections. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, June 20th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Ghana's opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo on Thursday said he is prepared to meet with President David Granger anytime to discuss the appointment of a chairman for the country's electoral body following the Caribbean Court of Justice ruling that the selection of the present holder of the office was flawed. On Wednesday, President David Granger said he would be writing to Jagdeo seeking a meeting to resume consultations on the appointment of a Ghana Elections Commission GCOM chairman. And Jagdeo says he's open to that, but he stressed that the main opposition People's Progressive Party, the PPP, is insisting on fresh regional and general elections as early as possible. The CCJ, which is Ghana's final court, said on Tuesday in a ruling that also validated the motion of no confidence passed against the government in the National Assembly last December, that Granger's unilateral appointment of retired Justice James Patterson as GCOM chairman was flawed. The CCJ will meet on a Monday next week when the possible consequential orders arising from its ruling will be discussed. Jagdeo told reporters on Thursday that he's willing to have discussions with President Granger on the matter as the court recommended.
Right now, the court has ordered the two sides to see if they can find a consensus way forward. So our lawyers are going to put our thoughts together. There are some principles that I outlined here, but there's much more in the order. They will draft and then they will share that with the other side, the lawyers on the other side. And through that process, we are hoping between now and Monday that there could be like a consent position.
So you have not given anything over yet?
No. The lawyers are working on that to share with the other side.
Do you have a timeline when you?
Yes, they have to do it quickly before we have to report back on Monday. So I'm hoping by today or tomorrow that goes over. So both sides can work over the weekend, getting positions to share with their lawyers. So right now, the lawyers will be the medium through which we will seek this consequential order. Failing which, we will then have directions from the court. So I am prepared to meet with President Granger to give effect to the ruling. 3 months election, a new chairman in place already. I'm prepared to meet with him day and night until we resolve those issues.
President Granger has already said that he will not be pressured into calling elections. He's insisting that a house-to-house registration process to clean up the voters list must be completed before Guyanese go to the polls. GCOM has said that won't be until November. The United States government says several Caribbean countries are not in compliance with the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking in persons. Of the Caribbean countries listed in the 2019 Trafficking in Persons report released by the U.S. State Department on Thursday, only the Bahamas and Guyana were found to have fully met the minimum standards for the elimination of human trafficking. The report said the authorities in those two CARICOM countries continue to demonstrate serious and sustained efforts during the reporting period and as a result remained in Tier 1. But it said Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Belize, Jamaica, Haiti, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago had been placed on Tier 2. That's the list of countries that do not fully meet the minimum standards for the elimination of human trafficking, although they are making efforts to do so. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's Monetary Council is to discuss the controversial sale of Scotiabank operations in the sub-region. Their planned discussions come amid suggestions that governments of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States are prepared to pool their resources to acquire the branches of the financial institution that are up for sale. Last November, the Trinidad-based Republic Financial Holdings Limited announced that it was seeking to acquire Scotiabank operations in Guyana, St. Martin, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit told reporters that Scotiabank has not yet gotten back to the respective governments on the final approvals required for the acquisition.
We'll have a more in-depth and focused discussion on this matter at the Monetary Council, where it is better placed as opposed to the OECS authority. But we are keen to discuss this matter. Obviously, our interest is to ensure in all actions taken by various stakeholders or governments themselves, that we always want to ensure that the best interests, first and foremost, of our citizens and residents are protected, and therefore we would need to have a role to play in assuring that this is protected at all reasonable costs.
A government minister in Jamaica is calling for former Prime Minister Edward Seaga to be named the country's 8th national hero. Local government minister Desmond McKenzie made an impassioned plea on a Wednesday at a joint sitting of both houses of Parliament, attended by current and former legislators, to pay tribute to the late Seaga. Seaga died in hospital in the state of Florida last month on his 89th birthday. He was the longest-serving lawmaker in Jamaica and the English-speaking Caribbean and served as leader of the Jamaica Labour Party for 31 years. Mackenzie, who is MP for the West Kingston constituency that Seaga represented for 46 years, sought to make the case that his mentor deserved more recognition, as he described him as a patriot, visionary, social engineer, nation builder, statesman, and cultural icon.
The Most Honorable Edward Seaga deserved much more than a 2 or a 3 hours tribute in this honorable house. He deserved much more than a couple buildings and streets being named in his honor, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the people of West Kingston believes that Edward Seaga fit the bill based on his performance in this country to be considered Jamaica's 8th national hero, Mr. Speaker.
The joint sitting of the Houses of Parliament was held on the same day that the country began a 4-day period of mourning that ends on Saturday, a day before Seaga's state funeral, which will be followed by his interment at the National Heroes Park. Staying in Jamaica, the agency tasked with investigating actions by security forces that result in death, injury, or abuse of rights has been granted leave to go to the Privy Council for a final decision on whether it has the power to arrest, charge, or prosecute officers. The Independent Commission of Investigation, INDICOM, had made the application following a March 2018 judgment by the Court of Appeal that the agency's powers are limited to investigations and its officers have no powers of arrest, charge, or prosecution. While it has been given the chance to appeal, INDICOM failed to get approval from the Court of Appeal to resume arresting, charging, or prosecuting police officers pending the decision of the UK-based Privy Council, which is Jamaica's final appellate court. Cases investigated by INDICOM are currently referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions for rulings. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Caribbean countries secure insurance coverage for this year's hurricane season. We'll be right back.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the Western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Caribbean countries are taking no chances this year and have moved early to secure insurance coverage for the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season. The Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility says 9 regional countries have increased their level of coverage. It says one unnamed Caribbean state has purchased cover for a tropical cyclone, which it did not have last year. The CCRIF is the world's first multi-country risk pool offering parametric insurance products. It says regional countries are covered for another year against tropical cyclones as well as excess rainfall events which occur throughout the year and earthquakes which may happen at any time. Additionally, the facility has provided its members with 2 policy features at no cost for 2019-2020. In 2017, several Caribbean islands were devastated by the Category 5 hurricanes Irma and Maria. This year, the U.S.-based National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has predicted a near-normal hurricane season. It says there is a likelihood of 9 to 15 named storms, of which 4 to 8 could be hurricanes, including 2 to 4 becoming major storms. Cayman Islands Premier Alden McLaughlin is denying claims that the government has interfered with the process to verify a petition calling for a referendum on the cruise port. Opposition leader Arden McLean made the accusation and has asked Governor Martin Roper to intervene. Cruise Port Referendum Cayman, the grassroots group behind the petition to trigger the people-initiated referendum, has also requested the governor's intervention. The group wrote to Roper on a Wednesday requesting that he share with them the legal basis for the anticipated door-to-door verification process and ancillary form. The group has asked the governor for confirmation on Cabinet's role on giving the Elections Office directions. It outlined the use of a separate verification form and the setting of a cutoff point for additional signatures as among other concerns. Premier McLaughlin said the government had instructed Supervisor of Elections Wesley Howell that he would need to satisfy Cabinet that the necessary number of signatures of voters to meet the 25% threshold required by the Constitution had been reached. But he said government had left the method of the verification process entirely to Howell. Guyana has the highest rates in South America for babies born with microcephaly, a condition in which the brain does not develop properly, resulting in a smaller than normal head. The mosquito-borne Zika virus, which was prevalent throughout the region a few years ago, was identified by the World Health Organization as one of the leading causes of microcephaly, and Guyana was recorded as having the highest rate. We get more in this HGP news report.
The coordinator of the Public Health Ministry's Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission Unit, Dr. Suzanne Seeds, based on Guyana's 2017 statistics, Guyana is ranked as having the highest number of cases in the South American hemisphere. Dr. Seeds noted that the majority of births affected by microcephaly occur mostly in Region 4, including districts on the east coast of Demerara and Georgetown, where a high population resides compared to other regions.
You would have noted as well the severe cases, because if you remember initially I spoke about the cases ranging from mild to severe. So with the severe cases, they were 80%. With the yellow, that is just about 5%, that was not recorded. And then with that brown slice right there, that says non-severe microcephaly. So the range there, it was not as severe as compared to what was presented as 80%.
Dr. Seeds said that Ghana's first case of Zika was recorded in January of 2016. She added that of the total number of babies diagnosed with microcephaly, only 17 are currently undergoing rehabilitative and pediatric care.
In sport, Australia's prospects for World Cup victory look brighter after their victory over Bangladesh in Thursday's match. Stay with us.
For beginnings, when true love is found, can't take it from me. No matter how they try, can't take it from me. No matter which way at all. And that's why enough little youth have up some fatmatic with the extra magazine in a them back pocket. And decent values with the decent wine. Decent you be running it down the line. Maybe it's my mind, maybe I'm blind, maybe it's the way that I've been spent.
If somebody came up to you and said how much they hate your job, but you know a different way, what would you say?
I would invite them to look at what it is they love to do, and I can help with them to create a career where they're paid to do what they love. My phrase is, if you're doing what you love, you'll never work again.
Wait a second. Even if I'm doing what I love, because I certainly love what I'm doing.
Now, the leading Caribbean food and rum event in New York will be rocking under the power of Skinny Fabulous. Right, yes. The leading Vincentian soca artist and Trinidad Carnival 2019 Road Match winner during Caribbean Week in New York, Skinny, whose real name is Gamal Doyle, will unleash his infectious energy and mesmerizing performance skills on rum and rhythm. The ultimate Caribbean food and rum experience at Capitol.
So the video Fight Song, which is coming up next, was directed by a young director named Jay Anders. Jay actually went out on the road. The last tour I did in Europe, he actually traveled with us from city to city throughout Europe and really just documented my entire journey on that tour, what it was like to be on the road. And when we got back home from that tour, he said, yo man, I would really like to be the director of the Fight Song video.
Australia's chances of a semi-finals spot in the ICC World Cup have been strengthened after they whipped Bangladesh by 48 runs in what was a runs fest at Trent Bridge on Thursday. Batting first, the Aussies made the tournament's second highest total of 381 for 5, with David Warner's impressive knock of 166. But the total proved to be too much for Bangladesh. They ended on 333 for 8. Let's take a look at the highlight of Bangladesh's runs chase.
Now that is all the pitching it.
Oh, there's a mix-up. Aaron Finch, mid-on, direct hit, he's got him! What a piece of fielding from the Australian captain.
Well, that'll be 4, all right.
In the air, David Warner hits 100, gets the big wicket, it's Shakib.
The 50 for Tamim as well. Nice use of the feet. Nice shot in the gap. Lights on, that's a big wicket.
Short pulled away, that should be a boundary.
Oh, that hurried through.
Up goes the finger. Well, it sounded lovely off the bat. A little bit of extra pace, that's past Carey. She'll put it low, and that's the 50 as well. Pulls out the reverse, gets it up and over. Smart batting here. Is this the over? Well, take it on if you dare. There it is again, stays in his crease, takes the long handle.
Picked him out. Yeah, flat back, never goes on his way.
Oh, and now he's on a hat-trick. Hasn't got it. And comfortably taken. Dave Warner in under that one. And it's out. Maxwell, he's got very, very safe hands.
New Zealand fast bowler Matt Henry says the warm-up defeat to West Indies has not dented the side's confidence, but he warned teammates they would be against a dangerous side when the two teams meet on Saturday. The Windies piled up a mammoth 421 to beat the Black Caps by 91 runs in their second warm-up of the World Cup in Bristol, but since then it has won just 1 in 5 outings in the tournament. In contrast, New Zealand is unbeaten in the World Cup with 4 wins from 5 matches and lies second in the standings on 9 points. Henry said ahead of the contest at Old Trafford this weekend that their last encounter was just a warm-up game, but noted that every game is important in a World Cup. The Black Caps opened their campaign with a dominant 10-wicket win over Sri Lanka in Cardiff and have hardly put a wrong foot since. Saturday's fixture will be a do-or-die one for the West Indies, who need to win in order to keep alive their already slim hopes of reaching the semi-finals. Over to football now. Trinidad and Tobago suffered a disappointing 2-0 defeat to Panama in their CONCACAF World Cup opener. TTT's Ken Fuentes has the details.
After a goalless first half, the Panamanians took the lead in the 58th minute as Armando Cooper got the ball around Trinidad and Tobago custodian Marvin Phillip to send the ball into the back of the net. 1-0 Panama.
Armando Cooper's 8th goal, and that's
Phillip was then called into action soon after to deny Panama a second.
goal, but that strike was hit with a lot of venom. He was playing like a playmaker.
Panama pressed for the second goal, and despite the best efforts of Phillip, he could not prevent the inevitable. 2-0 Panama thanks to Edgar Bacenas.
Occasion, Phillips does well with the first save, does well with the second save.
They almost had a third late in the game, but the shot went wide of goal. 2-0 Panama, as the Warriors now have a job on their hands to qualify for the knockout stages. Speaking after the game, head coach Dennis Lawrence says it was his team's errors that cost them in the end.
I didn't feel there was much in the game. The 2 critical moments in the game. One, our error, gave away the ball, we got caught from Panama. And the second one is us almost scoring and then get done in transition. So 2 soft goals to give away. We've dug ourselves in a bit of a hole now, which means we need to start thinking about getting 2 wins from the next 2 games. That's international football. And if you don't take your chances and you give away sloppy possession, you can get hurt.
Meanwhile, Jamaica's Reggae Boys will be picking up the pieces left from their defensive blunders despite defeating Honduras in their Group C clash last Monday. In this report by Spencer Darlington, one Jamaica defender is not worried about a repeat in their next assignment against El Salvador on Friday.
The coach make the decision and the players decide, where we can go, but I don't think it's any major tweaks. Maybe minor lapses that can be better, even from me, the whole back four or the whole team. Plays can be different, a pass can be different, and then the whole scenario changes. So I'm not worried.
Lowe was also on the score sheet as he netted Jamaica's 3rd goal, and he says it came in front of his biggest supporter.
A special moment for me, especially with my dad in the stands, and a lot of my family members. The home crowd was fantastic today. We appreciate the love and the support from them, and I hope we won their hearts.
But none could be more emotional than Leon Bailey, who was making his national debut. Bailey says he even had teary eyes just playing in front of the Jamaican people.
I can admit I was very emotional at the beginning of the game. It was a feeling I've never had in my whole time of playing professional football. It was very special because I got to actually experience playing in front of my family, my friends, and the nation.
It was the Bayer Leverkusen Stars' first full game since coming back from injury.
After being injured for so long, you're in your head mentally, you feel like you're good, but you also have this slight thought that you don't want to get injured again, and you're not 100% fit and stuff like that. So it all comes together.
And with the inclusion of Leon Bailey, Brian Brown, and a starting role for Diva Orgill, regular striker Darren Mattox had to watch the action from the bench.
We have a 23-man squad and we can call upon anybody, but
at the moment. We have to pick a team that's going to go out there and do what we want them to do. So again, I wouldn't say we rule out Mattox, but again, Mattox time will come. If you look on Shamar Nicholson, what he is doing, he's contributing a lot to the game. So Mattox will get his turn.
Jamaica's next game at the Gold Cup will be against El Salvador on Friday in Houston.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
So I just grated the chocolate and it smells absolutely amazing. And just add your chocolate. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add the bay leaves, the dash of salt, the nutmeg and the cinnamon. So just leave this to come up to a nice boil. So I'm gonna let this simmer and I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
A recap of the major developments of this day. Ghana's opposition leader willing to meet with President David Granger to discuss the appointment of an Elections Commission chairman following the CCJ ruling on the flaws in the process of selecting the current holder of the office. And in sport, Australia improves its chances of an ICC World Cup semi-final spot after beating Bangladesh by 48 runs. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanonNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.